Hello, great people. Welcome back to our channel. We're so excited to have you again. A former governor of Anambra State, who was also a running mate of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar in the presidential election in 2019, have taken out time to diagnose the problems that we are having in the country. And there are some very specific things that he has said, which I want us to, share in and also analyze, talking about the issue of insecurity, poverty, and the downward trend in the revenue generation in the country. And it mentioned ESN and what the governors should do, especially governors in the Southeast, should do for ESN and how they can also improve on the security situation in the country. Unfortunately, a security issue now has been overly political, and no one really seems to know where we are heading to. I trust that if government take it serious, things will improve. But I just wanted to hear from his point of view during an interview he was granted. And according to the news, the former governor of Anambra State, Mr. Peter Obi, who was also running mate to Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, the presidential candidate of the People Democratic Party in the 2019 general election, had opened up on a lot of things as it revolves around insecurity crisis facing the country. And he blamed it on a lot of factors, which we're going to look at in a jiffy. When he was asked what is his mindset in respect to security challenges and how Nigeria can get out of it, Mr. Obi said that, and I quote his words, he said, "How we got here is very simple. It's a collective effort of leadership failure over the years. That is what you are seeing today. And it is the continuous leadership failure that is worsening it, because over the years, we the leaders have failed to address the problem of the country, such as the issue of investing in human development, which is education, investing in social and economic activity, and growing the economy. So the system has deteriorated. Consequently, there is a pool of country full of poor people. That is why today we have the highest number of poor people in the world living in Nigeria. I always say it to show how grave this is. Our country is 200 million people in population, but we have more people living in poverty than China, with a population of 1.4 billion, and India that has a population of 1.4 billion too. If you combine China and India population, you get 2.8 billion. But we have more people living under poverty in Nigeria than there are in the two countries combined, just to show you where we are. Over the years, other countries invested in productive things, even have lifted their people out of poverty. But in our own country, we throw people into poverty. That is the cumulative effect of what we are seeing now, coupled with our own government not being serious with the issue of security of lives and poverty. What is happening is not what you can say we did not see coming. We supervise it, and we are still doing the same thing. Then another question was thrown at him, and the person said that it's unfortunate, but there are people who would argue that there are efforts to tackle this. That the federal government is mobilizing armed forces, investing in agriculture, in education, and he's asking the question he's been asked: is it that it's too late or too little? That's the effort of the government. The question was, is the effort of the government too late or too little? And according to Mr. Obi, Peter Obi, he said, well, for him, it is too little. For instance, I'm quoting his word, say, you claim to have invested in education. How come we have the highest number of out-of-school children in the world? We have over 16 million children that are out of school. And when you talk about 16 million out-of-school children, 70% out have never been to school. They never experienced it. Today, we have the highest number in the whole world. Nigeria, 14.8% as against 5.8%. I can go on telling you what is wrong. We have the worst gaps in terms of inequality. We belong to a country where less than 1% of the population is controlling over 75% of your wealth, and so many youths, young productive people, are doing nothing. There is no way you won't have problem. who is actually the criminal. We have a lot of people in the productive age doing nothing, and there is no hope for them. They are now feeling it, and they are seeing people making money. The only thing that attracts them is one form of crime or the other. If not stealing government's money, it's kidnapping or banditry. Everything that is wrong is striving. It is a challenge. We leaders have to be serious. He went further to say it is not a question of scratching head. The fact is that government has come out genuinely to tackle the issue of insecurity of lives and property, but by investing in them, allow some regional security system to function. I serve as a governor, and when I found out that we have security issues, I decided that every community in Anambra State must have their own security outfit supported and funded by the state government. I bought every community a pick-up van. If you go to Anambra State today, each community have a 4x4 pick-up equipped for security activities. Bigger communities like Ne, we have 4 to 5 because security is critical, and that helps to reduce security challenges. So when I talk about regional security, that is what government should do quickly. But it seems politics has been introduced into everything. You talk about regional security. In the southwest, we have a Motekun which state government put together, but then they ran into trouble with the federal government, which termed it illegal. There shouldn't be a running battle when it comes to issue of security. Security is a serious issue, and every region should be allowed to operate an outfit. You see, that is why every region is talking about the issue of restructuring. We have operated a system that does not work and will not work. We need to, at this point, change our system, and I can tell you that system is going to benefit every region, even those who seem not to support it or think it will not favor them will actually be the greatest beneficiaries of it. There is an ongoing battle in the southeast, which I am sure you are aware of, between the military and the Eastern Security Network, which said they are providing some level of security in the region, but are being accused of arming themselves and preparing to make themselves a law unto themselves. Let me tell you, every security system that is supported by governors should be supported now. When he was asked if he's also including the federal government in this, he said yes, because there is a security challenge that needs immediate attention, and to be addressed aggressively, it must have a backing of governors in each region. When he was further asked that if that is the case, we are in crisis, what do you think we can do to get out of this situation? He was asked about the solution to all the situation staring at Nigerians. Mr. Peter Obi took out time to explain a lot of things. And according to him, I quote, he said, I have just told you that what I did in Anambra, we need to do just that. Just support every community, set up their security outfit. There is no better security or production you can have than community being in charge of their security, because they know the criminals in their domain. They know foreigners in their communities. The most effective security in a village, in my village, is the one the villagers organize themselves. All they need is government support. But above all, to deal with this issue is to start dealing with the economic aspect of it. I keep saying we have economic problems which we must deal with decisively. He went further to say, go and take a study of everywhere there is security uprising in the world. It happened in South America, Brazil, Mexico, and Asian countries. Once there is economic problem, there is crime and disturbances. You will find out that more people will not come to crime if they know where the next meal will come from. Today, many people do not know where their next meal will come from, and there are no alternative. The government needs to create more productive environment, having more revenue to invest in security of lives and property. Why do you think the Western world spends so much money on security? They do this because they know that if they have a place secured and people employed, criminality will reduce. You cannot talk of being an American president or being anything unless you can talk about the economy. You can't do it in any part of the Western world. It is the economy, because if you fail the economy, no matter the kind of policing you do, it will not work. whenever you see this type of challenges, it is because there is a failure of people not having anything to do. But economically too, statistically shows we have a problem. Inflation is at the sky. Naira is exchanging for about 475 Naira per dollar. We are about $86 billion now in terms of our external debt portfolio. So economically, we are not even doing well. We are not doing well, and like I said, it is due to leadership failure over the years, but they can start solving that. Our debt is not a problem, but what we use the debt for is a problem. If those monies you were talking about were borrowed or were used well, there won't be issues on our debt. I heard the minister saying that we don't have a debt problem. We have a revenue problem, but I won't say they don't know that they are not doing the right thing. Let me explain this so that even if this is the only thing we discuss in this interview, you will understand it more and why it is important. We have a debt crisis. If you listen to the recent IMF report, it says that Nigeria is digging itself deeper into financial crisis, debt crisis. That was their report. That despite the huge money we borrow and continue to borrow, it is not impacting on our socio-economic area. And it gave an example. Last year alone, amidst the COVID-19 pandemic, IMF released to Nigeria $3.5 billion, which is about 1.5 trillion naira. But with every other money we borrow, nobody could feel the impact today. That is despite the regulatory position that as a country, the federal government cannot borrow more than 5% of our previous year income from the CBN. In 2021, our revenue was 3.3 trillion naira, so the loan is not supposed to be more than 200 billion naira, and our debt to the CBN is about 10 trillion naira, which is about 50 times that our debt have doubled in the past 10 years. In all scenarios, there is no impact on poverty reduction, growth to our GDP in any of the socio-economic area. That means all this borrowing plus our generated revenue resources have not been wisely spent. They have been a wasteful consumption, which made all the loans not to be productive. To further educate this, I will give a comparison so that you can see why I said we have wasted the money. In our foreign debt was cleared in 2008 when former President Olusegun Obasanjo was in power. Our total debt then to GDP was under 10%. Our local debt collectively in dollar term was just under $30 billion. We will use a country that has the same huge debt profile as an example, and that is Bangladesh. You may say use India or China, but let us use Bangladesh. 2008, I spent a week in Bangladesh studying their poverty reduction, education, and health issues. The country then had a debt of $37 billion, 41% of their GDP. Their GDP then was $91.6 and their per capita income was $638 per capita. Between 2008 and 2019, their debt increased from $37 billion to $108 billion, 3 times. They borrowed 3 times the amount they owe before. Within that period, too, their GDP grew from 91.6 to $302 billion. Their per capita increased from $635 to $1,855. Their debt now to GDP became 34% because they invested the money wisely. Why don't Nigeria do same? So much to talk about here, but I'd like to leave you to go to the comment section. Let's interact. What do you have to say about all what